Hello and welcome. This is Little Wave with your stars within. I want to bring to you a Happy New Year video to look forward into 2024 and particularly the biggest stuff here at the beginning of 24. Let's see. Let's start with the Mercury retrograde. We had a Mercury retrograde in December, from December 13th till January 2nd. Now this went between the 22 degree of Sagittarius to the 8 degree of Capricorn. So this particularly impacted anything that you had in the 22 to 29 of the mutable signs, Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, Virgo, and then the 0 to 8 degrees of the cardinal signs. In particular, it's in Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, and Libra. Okay. That Mercury retrograde, of course, has a shadow period. It's the time in which the planet is approaching, moving through forward the degrees that it's then going to retrograde through. So we only call it retrograde when it's moving backwards. But it had to go 22, 23, 24, 29, 0, 1, 8. And then we say, oh, it's retrograde. 8, 7, 6, 0, 29, right? Then we say, oh, retrograde's over. But it's not. This other shadow period on the other side is as the planet is moving back through those degrees again. So the 22, 23, 24, 29, 0, 1, 2, all the way to 8. So if we include the shadow periods, this started around November 26th, so think Thanksgiving, through January 21st. So this would have been a process that began around November 26th. Depending on when specifically it would be in relationship with some of your planets or points. So you can notice if this Mercury retrograde had a lot going on for you, were there things that you needed to reflect on, reconsider, revise, right? It's all the re's. It makes us go back and look at something differently. The retrograde brings the energy inward. And when it's inward, we're more reflective, we're more creative, we're less linear. We're more in our right brain, and we can just make broader connections and understandings. So whatever this has been about for you, depending on what planets or points and what house it's in, it should have started around Thanksgiving. And that should help just give you a marker to notice where this is going on in your life. We have two planets, major planets going forward in January. We have Jupiter, who technically is going forward December 31, but will be moving forward. Finally, he's been in retrograde since September of 23. And so his shadow period on the other end will go all the way through March. And he's moving between the 5 and 15 of Taurus. So the 5 and 15 of the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. So he'll be moving forward finally, starting in January. This has been quite a lengthy process. Jupiter is blessings, and everything he brings us is for our highest good. However, sometimes Jupiter is just so expansive that what he's doing is he's bringing us the ability to see something. He's making it so big that we can't miss it. He can also bring changes to who you are or to highlight different aspects of yourself. So if you've had any planets or points in that 5 to 15 of the fixed signs, you have been in this process for a while, but you will probably feel that shift of the energy in January and then experience that, final understanding. So ideally with the retrograde process, as the first shadow period comes in, we're starting to oh, that's what this is about. Okay, we're starting to kind of understand the lessons. Sometimes some big stuff happens that we need to then process. So as it goes into the retrograde, we reflect, we process, we think about it. We make new arrangements in our mind, in our understanding of life. And then this final time through the shadow period on the other end is when we put this new way of being, this new understanding into action. So we feel this forward motion. Now, if we didn't do a very good job of understanding what this was about and learning and growing with it, then that third time through, that last shadow period can be really you have to understand this. And so sometimes that can be bumpy. But it's really just trying to get the insight, understanding, or change to come through clearly to you in your life. The other major planet we have going forward in January is Uranus. Now, he's been retrograde for quite some time, and he goes direct on January 27th. Now, remember that date. That time period, January 27th, is a very big moment. And so he's going forward at the 19 degree of Taurus. He's been between the 19 and the 23. So he'll start moving forward here January 27th at the 19, and he'll be in those final degrees. This will be his last time coming forward until about June. Starting in June, he starts moving through the next group of degrees, so the 24 to 27 of the fixed signs. So again, he's in Taurus, the fixed signs being Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. So if you have any planets or points at the 19 to 23, you've been going through this for quite some time, a year, a little bit more by the end of it. Starting in June, if you have planets and points between the 24 and 27, you're going to start having unexpected, because Uranus brings the unexpected. So it's going to start bringing you unexpected situations or changes into your life. Now, Uranus wants to change your consciousness. That's what he wants to help you do. He wants to help you elevate and shift to the next consciousness. But the consciousness that you're in can never understand the next, right? It includes but transcends. It is so much bigger. So there's this process of sort of holding on during this chaotic moment while Uranus takes us weaving and moving and all over the place, trying to take us to the next consciousness. But we get scared and we go, oh, gee, this is anxiety provoking. Things are changing. I've never been here before. No, you've never been here before. That's the point, is that it's a new consciousness that you've never experienced. And so the pathway there is different. Uranus is not much for feelings. He's more of the mad scientist, and he's just trying to take you there. He wants to see what's going to happen. So he's not soft and fuzzy with the feelings. You don't want to fall off of that movement. It can be really disorienting, and we can have a lot of different mental health issues and things like that. He is anxious. He does bring a lot of energy and a lot of mental energy, but it's a really genius energy. And what you can do in this time is really phenomenal, and the changes that you can make are immense. So if you have planets or points between the 24 and 27, I encourage you over the next year and a half or so to really just hold on. And I do want to note, if you have planets or points at the 23, specifically the 23 degree, you're getting the extra hit. Sometimes the way a planet moves, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and he went backwards, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19. Now he goes forward, right? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. That next retrograde, he does go as far back as 23. So he goes 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. So that 23 degree is getting particularly moved. So you've already been in it for some time, and you're not done yet. You're getting the biggest movement with that particular degree. Okay. Now, let's just talk a minute about the new and full moons coming up in January. We have the new moon on January 11th. It's at 20 degrees Capricorn. So again, the 20 degree of the cardinal signs, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra. This particular new moon is going to square the nodes, the north and south node, which are at 20 degrees Aries. And so the way I perceive this is that this new moon really represents a new karmic path, for better or for worse, right? Karma is reaping the seeds in which we planted. And so we'll be being ushered into the path that is open to us and is the path of the next part of our journey. And this is going to be very karmically based. We may not realize that we're moving into this new path on January 11th because the new moon is the dark moon. So leading up to and during the new moon, any kind of mindfulness, meditation, positive actions, you really want to encourage the possibility of the highest karmic path. But we may not know what portal we passed through until the light, right, the fuller light of the full moon comes. Now, this big full moon is going to be on January 25th at 5 degrees Leo. So there's a number of things happening in this time. One is that the full moon is going to be in square with Jupiter. Now remember, Jupiter's going forward, but he's still in that shadow. He's coming back through those degrees. He's moving back from 5 to 15. So he'll be at 6 degrees Taurus. So he's in square with this full moon. So that's really going to bring up what this Jupiter going forward is all about for you. If you have planets or points around the early to, the 2, 3 to 8, 9 degrees of the fixed signs, particularly the 5, 6 degree. 2 days later, January 27th, Uranus goes forward. I already told you that. We're going to really feel the chaos in that moment. But also, Mars and Mercury are going to conjunct for a moment, just a moment, like a day or two, at the 16, 17 degree Capricorn. Now, by itself, Mercury and Mars conjunct, I would tell you, don't cause fights. Be careful with what you say. Watch your words. You might feel particularly mentally agitated, right? So when we have also Uranian energy going forward, which is sort of a higher octave of Mercury, and, can be a bit of a troublemaker or chaoticness, along with this Mercury Mars, this is a big shifting change. We're still in that new moon energy from just 2 days ago. And that Mercury Mars conjunct is at the 16, 17 Capricorn, not too far from where that new moon was with the nodes, right? That was at 20 Capricorn. So this is bringing it all back up. So the shift at the energetic or subtle levels probably happening around the new moon, January 11th, but you are going to know what is changing with this full moon, January 25th, and then this big day on January 27th. It's going to be unavoidable, like a crash, like a boom. Uranus is very abrupt, as is that Mercury Mars. And it may not always feel like a good thing. These are going to be some chaotic feeling energies, and there may be some chaotic things that happen in the world at large as well. But keep in mind that just because something is challenging or overwhelming in the moment, or it happens rash or harsh, doesn't mean it's wrong. Some people may fall away. Uranus can be like a wind shaking the tree, and you may be surprised at which branches are loose in your life. They might be looser than you thought. Or you might be surprised. That one was loose? I can't believe that person or that situation, that job, whatever, fell away. So just really working with the fact that just because it comes in quick and abrupt and overwhelming, hold some faith that doors have shifted, paths have changed. There's been kind of like a reset, and you're getting moved to the next course for you. The last thing I want to say is, woohoo, Pluto is going to be moving into Aquarius finally for good. I know we celebrated that last year, but it was very brief. Now Pluto is really in Aquarius, starting at the 0 degrees in January. I will say in the next phase of retrograde for Pluto, he does go as far back as the 29 Capricorn. So if you have a 29 of the cardinal, Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, Libra, you will be really feeling this when it retros. You're that degree that got that extra hit. Otherwise, we are fully in the age of Aquarius, and Pluto will begin its path through the early degrees, the 0, 1, 2 of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. I'm realizing I haven't commented much for people who have mutable placements, and that's making me just want to remind you that Saturn has gone forward. He was in retrograde, but he's still finishing that shadow period in January. Somewhere towards the end of January, he officially moves to the 5 degrees of Pisces, and that will be a new degree. So he's been going back through the 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Pisces. So if you have early degree mutable signs, Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, Gemini, then you're probably feeling the more maturing and authority type of influence of Saturn, which is probably maybe externalized, So you might be feeling other people this way, but you're being really asked to buckle down and to be mature and to bring your best and your hardest work. And if you're doing that, then Saturn, I won't say he's easy, but he's letting you be as long as you're doing your work. So I hope that that's helpful to everybody. Welcome to 2024. We have some big movements in the sky this year. The Jupiter and Uranian energy, which are both in Taurus but kind of far apart from each other right now. We'll be looking at having a union at the around April of 2024. So looking forward to discussing that a little further, along with all of the other moons and retrogrades and everything else that will be going on. Happy New Year and welcome to Pluto in Aquarius.